I didn't get the point. Where will you get the funds to provide all those?
Right. So I want to start a social movement. I don't want to do this myself, but I believe that if you just give this idea to some people who do have a lot of funds or resources, like a political party, a rich guy like Elon Musk or Mark Shuttleworth, or just if enough people want to do this, we can bend a political party to our will, because they're supposed to be listening to what people want. And if enough people want this, because it's a society and a system that works and makes a lot of sense, then I think we can make a change so that our government can really do this for us, if it reforms itself. Right. So yeah, that's basically how we can get things started. Do you know the Arab Spring? Well, I'll talk about it later. Okay, anyway, so yeah, unlimited food and housing forever in the free economy. So the third pillar is education, because who's going to be teaching those farmers how to grow things, or those builders how to build things? Or the number of things that will need to be done in this economy are vast. So the number of teachers we will need is vast. So they are like the third pillar of the economy. They're in fact the most important one. It's the one that everything else comes from. So free education is going to be a standard thing. All right. And think about, again, what does it cost to be educated? What does it cost for a person to stand in front of you people and give you knowledge? What is the actual resources that are required for this to happen? If somebody's putting me up, if somebody's giving me a nice home and feeding me, I don't actually need any money. There doesn't need to be anything that is spent. This doesn't cost anything, and I can empower you guys. That's what happens on campus all the time, right? You just listen to people giving you knowledge for free. So that's why free education is important. Yeah?
So with the free education, is it in all levels, including like tertiary level?
Yeah.
Okay, so with if you provide free education for all in tertiary levels, say that let's say like the vast majority of the population like get tertiary education, so which means there will be a surplus of like higher level, right?
Yes.
And then what about, and then there's basically a little amount of people who would be able to do like standard jobs like cleaning and stuff like that.
Everybody can always do those jobs. Like, it's not like because you can do quantum physics now you forgot how to clean the floor. It's not like that. People, so it's yeah, there just won't be a problem. Like, do you think that that's a real problem?
So I'm just asking like who is the cleaners if we all have that job?
Right. So again, it comes down to like supply and demand. So as I said earlier, like there are a lot of problems in the world that need fixing that aren't fixed because there's no profit involved in it. But so in my society, there will be no cost of anything eventually. So I could technically, if the society takes off, it could actually provide everything for free, so that nobody has to work. But this is not actually a very good idea, because communism didn't work because nobody had to really work for what they got. Everybody got the same thing. So if you were a doctor or a street cleaner, you got the same thing. So the doctors decided not to work so hard anymore. Nobody wanted to do those difficult jobs anymore, or get that training, because you're studying your arse off for 7 to 10 years and you get the same amount of pay as some douchebag and doesn't care about what he's doing with his life or whatever. So in my system, if there's a need for something, the incentive to do something can be given by points. So everybody technically doesn't need to do anything, but in order for them to get the stuff that they want, I'm going to make them earn points. Life is literally going to be like a game. It's already a game, but it's a really hard game at the moment, right? And you can fall and you can fail and die. But in the future, everything will be sorted, but you will still need to put in some work and some time in doing something. So if there are no more sick people, you don't need doctors anymore. So doctors will then go clean the streets because that's how they get points, right? Like at at a certain point, everything becomes free and taken care of. So, right. Okay. So now I want to talk about free and unlimited clothing, and this is also a good place for me to explain like how entrepreneurship, how entrepreneurs are going to fit into the society, and how people are going to be getting their rewards. Because as I just said, it's not going to be like everybody gets the same amount of rewards. People will be living in different homes based on the difficulty of their job and how good they are at their job as well. So if we have entrepreneurs making clothes, are all entrepreneurs going to get the same amount? Are all clothing makers going to get the same amount? No. Some people will make better clothes than others and therefore get more orders and therefore more rewards. Right? So competition is still going to be normal in this society. It's not going to be a freak show that is completely unrecognizable. Yeah.
So like I have a question. Let's say you start a community. Like, will you be prohibited from like buying stuff outside? Or
You won't have money. Well, actually, you will. You will have money. Oh, okay, I don't want to get to this, but there will be some things that in the free economy that you can't do, like travel to another place which doesn't operate on the points that I give. So like maybe 10% of your paycheck will be rands. So you can spend those rands as you wish. Yeah, so you will still be able to travel, for example, at the end of the year. Because if you've saved up for 12 months, like, yeah, you'll have saved up enough rands to take your family somewhere. But the real goal is to make it so that you never need to spend outside of the economy. And if we have a global free economy, then you really don't need rands at all. You can go spend your points in another country which has the same sort of setup. So, yeah, so rands can be a part of your paycheck, but the goal is to have no rands there. Alright, so, yeah, okay, so first core principle, your reward is based on the value of your contribution to society. And as I also talked about just now, inequality will be minimized because of human nature. Right? It can't be cancelled out. Right? So we do need to minimize inequality, though. So what do you guys know? How bad is inequality? Do you guys know what inequality is? Right? So how bad is it for society?
very bad, super bad.
Okay, great. Okay, so then I don't need to explain to you guys so much. But anyway, if in the video you can check out that link, that guy explains why it's bad for you and everyone else in society and how it could possibly do stuff like drive murder. All right, and also even affect your level of trust for your fellow man and your level of participation in your community and your attitude towards life and general happiness. So yeah, as you know, inequality can be summed up in like this picture here, right? That's inequality in one picture. Now, this sort of situation deeply affects our feeling of trust or mistrust, because if you're living here, you can see that there is clearly enough money in your country or in your city to build great things. But somehow you and your friends have never had an opportunity to get into this sort of world. Like, what's going on there? You might quite justifiably think that the game is rigged, right? And the game is rigged. Do you guys know this? In favor of the 1%? Do you know that the laws are made by rich people? Stuff like that. So the game is rigged. And so we tend to mistrust people. Now, the free economy, in the free economy, or the way of thinking in the free economy is this. These people don't actually need money to have a life that's like this or better. What do they really need? All they really need is to be told what they need to get and where to get it. So basically they just need to be organized. Then they need to be told what to do with the things that they go and get, right? How to put it back together to build the buildings. And if they have a large enough group of people to do all the jobs that are required, then they can literally build this kind of complex again and again and again with no cost. Is that true? What do you think? Please challenge me, guys. you think that's possible? Yes or no?
No.
No? Oh, why not?
There's a lot of factors that you're not considering.
Such as?
That crime doesn't only sometimes involve money.
Well, at most crime.
Rape, for example.
Okay, you give me an example of a crime and I'll tell you how inequality eventually is the cause of that.
Rape in Clifton, for example.
Okay, so what kind of people rape women? Is it generally good people, or is it usually people from a different class? Or is it people, it's like the rapists and rape victims, are they always like of the same level? Or are they the same strength, for example? Are men and women equally strong? No, right? So the inequality of strength in this case means that women get raped all the time, far more than men. Right? Yeah? And
Yeah, more men get raped.
in jail maybe.
Yeah.
But we're talking about normal society here, right?
Okay.
Alright, so yeah, that's inequality of strength. But let's take rape statistics in general. Do you think there's more rape in a poor neighborhood or more rape in a wealthy neighborhood? Intelligent, sorry. A wealthy neighborhood.
Generally.
Come on, like
I was just considering
in a
crimes
township.
that are outside of monetary.
No, fair enough. There are crimes that are not purely based in inequality, but the large majority of crimes are. So yeah, you can check out this article again, as I will be showing. Like there'll be a click to read sign that says that you can check out the more detailed like analyses of what inequality is and its effects on society. But yeah, so let's go on then. So finally, yeah, as I said, inequality can't be minimized. Not everybody can get the same stuff because those people that do difficult, important jobs that need years of training for need to be rewarded highly. So because they're providing things like free healthcare and legal aid, they get access to high-level services and goods, all right, which again are provided by our entrepreneurs living in the society. So yeah, the high-level guys or just anybody that earns enough, that contributes enough to society will be able to go on holidays and destinations purpose-built for free economic citizens. And these resorts can run themselves as well for free. All right, and that basically provides an incentive for people to get like deeper experiences, better experiences of life. And I think that's a great motivation for them, for these high-level MVP guys to demonstrate their altruism, egalitarianism, because they're doing whatever they're doing, as I said earlier, for the sake of good, and they're doing it for all the people in their community. All right, so I think rewarding them highly is quite sensible. We want them in our economy. So yeah, that is the core principle, and then going quickly to, can the free economy really provide for all of our needs? So admittedly, stuff at the moment, some stuff we won't be able to make ourselves, like smartphones, for example, because we do need like some corporate knowledge, a lot of research and development. I mean, we can actually work towards that. But this is how we work towards that. So the free economy will, of course, be producing surplus goods and services. Now, we can sell the stuff and maybe hire out our labor to the old economy so that it can pay us money. And we can use that money to get materials and more skills from the old economy, such as smartphone making skills. And so once the free economy has those skills locked down, we can make better stuff, such as the smartphones eventually. So it just becomes like a positive feedback loop. So basically, the free economy basically feeds off the old economy. All right. Yeah, so any questions so far? All right. So, Yeah, and also I said just now that money, like rand, can still be a part of your normal benefits package as a stipend or allowance. But then, yeah, there are certain things you can't do in the free economy with that money, like travel, unless we have a global free economy, which is the end game. So, what's wrong with our current system? Quite a couple of things. Okay, so nowadays we always talk about there being no money to solve the problems, even though we know how to solve the problems, and even though money is not actually a thing. How can it stop us if we invented money? How can we say that there's no money to do something, so it can't be done? It's quite stupid actually, but it's like the way we've been brainwashed to think that actually you don't need money, you need the people that would work for money. That's what we mean when we say we want money. We don't actually ever want money, we want the things that money can buy, i.e. power and respect or whatever, right? But also the simple stuff. Now, how can our government not make money? Do you guys know that governments don't make money? Did you know that? Yeah, governments don't make money. That's why we can hear things like the government has no money. How can the government have no money if it makes money? It simply doesn't. Banks make the money, and then the government, which controls the country, has to ask for loans from the banks. So this is incredibly stupid. And yeah, in the next video, I sort of like give you a red pill moment where I just tell you that, you know, banks create the money out of nothing, literally out of nothing. When you go to a bank for a loan, just out of nothing, they'll just type some numbers into your computer and R1 million is created. And this distorts things in a very deep sort of way. And so yeah, maybe you don't believe me. And so in the second video, I show like 3 other people with big names and titles, like a UK member of Parliament, an ex-US presidential candidate, and a world economics professor. All say exactly the same thing. Banks create money out of nothing, and they charge us interest. Not a small amount of interest either. So they give us something that costs them nothing, and we have to pay them back double quite often. And that's why we can say things like there's no money for stuff. Just a very stupid system. So, yeah, this is getting, okay. So, money, so for all my talk of money being a bad thing, we do actually need money. We don't need money, but we need what it represents to us. And that is simply a measure of value. All right? Before this, we used to do bartering, but bartering wasn't efficient, so we decided something like a gold coin or a cow in Zulu culture is a unit of wealth. That instead of saying you own so many rands, it used to be you own so many cows or you own so much gold, right? So money can be anything, really. It could also be simply points, and in this system, it makes a lot of sense to make it that way, right? Because money has been corrupted. Quite honestly, the link between the wealth or money that you earn and the value that you create is completely destroyed. I mean, these are the guys that are at the top of the game, right? The most powerful, richest people in the world. Do they create the most value? Quite obviously not, right? These are not even good people, but they have the most money. Are you a Zoomers fan?
No, but
Yeah.
no, sorry.
Say whatever.
No, you said all of them are not good people.
I mean, do you think any of them are?
Well,
They're quite clearly some of the most powerful people in the world, yes? And what do they provide for society? Do they create something positive or negative?
Entertainment.
Entertainment, right? Good entertainment or bad entertainment?
it's normal.
Why are we paying attention to people who don't provide you any insight into the world at all? All they do is they look pretty and fight on screen. What is the value to your life being added? Like, do you know how all of them became famous?
No.
Oh, you're kidding!
They were famous before that.
No. There was one video that
They
got
were
made.
famous before that. They had a whole show already.
No,
Dude.
how old is this now?
The show is 10 years old. The video is at least, I don't know.
But nobody knew about this family until that video came out, as far as I know. They were not an international thing until this video came out. I mean, 5 years ago or something. Right? You guys know how? You know she made a sex tape, right? Saying like, I'm gonna make a sex tape now and that's how I'm gonna get famous on the internet. And then that's her contribution to society. Like, does that make us better as a society that we follow that? Spend hours of our days idolizing these people. Like, it's simply not good for us at all. But they are the most powerful and richest people in the world today. So something's going wrong. And I already said that, At the moment, we're under this impression that we have to get money all the time, but it's not money that we are supposed to be thinking about getting. It's the things that money can buy, the end goal. That's what we really want. And by eliminating money, which is controlled by people that don't actually really care about your well-being, you do yourself a huge disservice. So that's why this needs to happen. All right, there's a lot of problems, and by ending poverty, we make the world a better place for all. As I said earlier, inequality hurts everybody. Even rich people are victims to crime. So, again, just think about the situation. Begging at traffic lights. You guys have obviously seen this, right? How do you feel? How do both parties feel? There's usually like some sort of combination of guilt and shame, right? Like you want to give something, but you can't be giving this guy something every time you come past here. If you just had a job, or if somebody could give him a job, or just take him off the street, I think that would be an improvement for everybody, right? By simply saying you don't need to be here, or even if there is somebody that is homeless in the free economy, you know that the only reason they are there is because either they're too goddamn lazy, they just don't want to help anybody, and they don't want to do anything good. So if you see a guy on the street, when you know he has options, you don't need to feel guilt and shame, even if they are there. So the free economy provides basically a peace of mind as well, besides just a better society, but a happier, more positive place for people in that society. So homelessness, joblessness, most crime just simply don't need to exist. So this system doesn't rely on supposedly limited, but not really limited, just very unequally distributed financial resources. So we don't need money, we don't need financial resources, we need human resources. And that is infinite, right? What people can do is infinitely expanding as well, as things like technology increase what we can learn and what we can do. So this is simply a more logical, sensible way to think about setting up a society. Also, by relying on the people, by relying on them being able to solve all the problems of the society, we create a huge incentive for there to be this development cycle, for there to be free training. There's a huge incentive for the economy to look after your brain and keep you sharp, right? Because you are the ones that are going to be solving all the problems that we have. So better to make sure you have all the skills that you need to do that. So the future free economic citizens are going to be very multi-talented, multidisciplinary, multi-skilled people. All right, so in other words, you will be able to do far more than you think you will be able to do right now. You probably are preparing yourself for one career, but instead of having one career, you could after, if the job that you need to do for society runs out because we've completely mechanized that field that you work in, no problem, you get another degree, no problem. Just keep on going, keep on learning new stuff, right? And then you become you could become like a superhero at the end of the day, really. And that is kind of the goal as well, but I can talk about that later. So yeah, anyway, another reason for you to want to stay in this sort of place is you're working with like-minded citizens towards achieving shared goals. Now, this is way beyond your time, right? Nobody knows the 18.
I do.
Ah, okay, you got the old school. All right, cool. So, do you remember what the 18 did? Missions for helping other people. Like, they were mercenaries that didn't like the corrupt government that they were working for, so they split and took up like small missions for helping people out. So imagine you work with a group of people like that. So imagine you walk into an office and you don't have to wonder, who's the scaly bastard that I have to watch out who's trying to undercut everybody else? What's the political situation here because that guy is getting more money than that guy? You don't have to worry about these things. Imagine you go to an office where you know not an office, but a building where you know everybody there has volunteered their time simply in order to do good for their society. Like, the world becomes a much less tense place, much more. Wouldn't you want to be with a group of people like that, right? I think by sort of saying, hey, all the good people come to this economy, I think you get a lot of people coming up and like sort of banding together, making a strong society. Now, there's also a huge capacity for a greater capacity and potential for people, for large populations than this system that we have right now. And basically, I can show you how we can shrink things like the amount of space needed. So this is what the third video, which talks about what the world is going to look like, using Cape Town as an example. I show you how by using things like that vertical farming, stuff like vertical farming. In fact, no, by using just the greenhouse, one area, one city block equation, all the food that you need to feed 1 million people can be grown on an area that size. And the housing, if I'll show you later, the kind of in those tall skyscrapers, the amount of the space needed for buildings is that much space. So you can basically take 25% of Cape Town. This is the unemployed. There's 25% unemployment, right? Or it's close to 30 now. So I say 25% of Cape Town. This is pretty much the poor 25%. There's like Khayelitsha and Delft. Anyway, so this is where the townships are. And so I show you in this video how we can minimize the amount of land needed. We can basically reduce Cape Town's carbon and physical footprint requirements by 90%, just by making things more efficient than this current system. So what that means is we never have to worry about problems like immigration or running out of anything, because people are simply living. We're basically, by reducing the footprint, carbon and physical, it creates more space for people. You know what I mean? Right? If not everybody needs 20 cows and 2 cars and 2 homes, then you can actually have quite a lot of people in small space. If you need all those things, it's very inefficient. So, yeah, this new economy is going to be based on value, not money, and that could easily bring unprecedented prosperity and human achievement. Because think, for example, if all the problems, okay, no, it's going to keep going. I will edit that out. All right. So, any questions so far? Okay, cool. So, all right, can we start this now? The sustainable, low-cost, eco-friendly, ethical, community-building, fulfilling, and meaningful society doesn't need big changes to occur. We don't need political changes or ideological changes. This is just a technical, sort of innovative project that needs thoughtful administration. As I showed you, like, we need to think about how many farmers do we need for this many people, how many builders do we need, and then what can we provide for these people. All right, so you just need administration. You don't need to go kill anybody on the streets or even fight with anybody at all. This economy can also coexist with the old economy, and it does actually need it at first, and it will compete with it until such time that I think it can outcompete the old economy, and people will want to naturally just let it die, because we don't need to live like that anymore. All right, and it also provides a genuine alternative to consumerist capitalism. So a lot of people like me that are in the workforce right now, well, I'm not actually in the workforce right now, but a lot of people that are in the workforce in the old economy are ready to leave because they know that they're doing something bad for society. But because of the way the game works, you've got to get money. You've got to get money if you want that anything. So they will do something that is bad in order to get a lot of money, right? But even though, so they know that this is wrong, but there's no choice for them. If they want to raise their kids happily and nicely, if they want to make their family proud of them, they can't tell them the bad shit, the lies that they have to tell at work. But, you know, they do have to do that. So I think by providing an alternative for these people, they can use their skills that they have honed over many, many years for a much more positive meaning, without having to think about just money generation, just thinking about, can they use their skills for the better of society? And I think many people want to have that choice. So, yeah. And another thing, we don't need any more land. More land will be created out of those slums, as I showed you. Right? So yeah, basically we don't need an extra, this block of space, we just move it there. Right? So we now have a lot of extra space to build things like stadiums, parks, a whole bunch of stuff which I go into in the second, also the third video. Okay, so here we come down to what you guys can do to get this started. All right, now as I said earlier, I can't do it. I don't have the connections or the startup capital for it, but cities, governments, and political parties should have the resources to do that, and also the drive to make it a reality, because they're supposed to be providing what you want. They're supposed to be representing you, providing for you as a government. So what you can do to get the attention of these people is very simple. Just post this video, once I post it online, to the social media accounts of your political party or any political party that you think would be interested in doing this. If enough people sign up or share this link, I think they'll get the message, right? We could start something quite simply here. And yeah, if the political parties don't work, celebrities will also help us get the message out, because you know they have the most followers. So let's hashtag let them use fame for good, right? Let them spread